Hey moms, hey dads, welcome back to my channel. If you don't know, my name is Brittany Lachey, and I'm glad you want to be a part of our family. Now, I must admit, it's a little crazy over here, but on most days, it's pretty good. Today, I want to share with you on how to quiet the noise. Now, listen, y'all. You hear that? Nothing. Silence, okay? On most days, I'm telling you, 90% of the time, my house is not that quiet. They're normally running around, fussing at each other. They're on the phone. They're on an iPad. They're got their TV turned up loud. And I know that's how your house looks too. So I want to tell you a few ways to be intentional on how to spend time with God, quiet the noise in just a few ways. I'm telling you, it'll be so impactful for you and your family. And so just tune in, stay near the TV, right? Or the phone, whatever you have me on. Watch it. And I also want to share with you, I haven't introduced you to my kids yet. You got to meet them so you know who's a part of my family. Stay tuned. So where are my manners, right? Like I've done a full video about affirmation, vision 2020, and I didn't even introduce you guys to my kids. I don't even know if I really mentioned them all that much either. But if you don't know, I have two girls, twin girls, Jada and Jordan, and I have a son, Tracy. I'll let them introduce themselves to you here shortly and, tell you a little bit about themselves and also, what they love about our family. I know myself, I love that we are so close. We have a good time together and that we laugh nonstop around here, or at least most of the time, unless they're getting in trouble and I'm having to discipline.
Hi, I'm Jada. I'm in 6th grade and I'm 12 years old. Hi, I'm Jordan. I'm 12 years old. I'm in 6th grade. We're twins.
Hi, I'm Tracy. I am in 3rd grade. I am 9 years old.
So will you tell everybody some of the things that you like to do and what do you like about our family?
I really like playing volleyball and a little bit of basketball. And I really like that we're open with each other and we're really close with each other. One thing I like to do is probably dance and talk to my sister. One thing I like about my family is how crazy we are.
One thing I like about our family is that we do family fun nights on Fridays and sometimes on Saturdays. And I really like building Legos and playing video games. Here are some of the Legos I have built. Can you hold this, please? Okay, so I built.
I want to share with you just a couple of tips today about how to be intentional with your time and how to quiet the noise in your lives. I know if you're like me as a parent, a single parent, spouse, you have a lot going on, as we all do. Just being sure that you're spending time with God is very important. And as I've grown in my journey, as I've grown in my life, I know this was the number one thing that has definitely just made just an impact in my life. And so I want to share with you just a couple of tips and a couple of ways that you can do that and be very intentional about your time and spending it with God. So how can you quiet the noise in your life? And I mean that literally and figuratively, that sometimes, we have so much going on in our world and it's just, we're constantly on the go and we forget, we literally forget that, wait, I've gone the whole week and I haven't spent a time or moment with God. And for a long time, that's how my life was. And I was wondering why my life wasn't changing or going in the direction I thought it should be. And I realized very quickly is that I wasn't taking up the time that I needed to with God every day. Not just on Sundays, not just on Wednesdays, not just a scripture or prayer here and there, but I wasn't being very intentional about spending time with God. If I can make it more literal or a better example for you is that, for me, I almost had to humanize God and say, okay, if I and God were in a true relationship, right? He was courting me and I was being pursued by him, what would our relationship really look like? And I had to be honest with myself, and that relationship would be so terrible. And not because of God, because he did everything he needed to do on his part, but because of me. I wasn't taking up the time with God, and really our relationship was almost non-existent. And so if we want to put it in that kind of realm of things, if you think about your relationship, right? Your relationship with God, humanize it and say, if God was pursuing you, he did everything that he possibly could do. Would your relationship still be thriving? Would your relationship still be going? Would it be strong? Because if that's the case, you got to check yourself and say, is it me or is it God? In most cases, it's not God, because he's done everything he needed to do in the relationship. So a couple tips for you to just be intentional with quieting the noise in your life. So number one, I want you to establish a good routine. And of course, it is exactly what it says. For everybody, it's going to look a little different. Maybe on Mondays, you're spending time with God in the morning times. Maybe on Saturdays, you're spending time with God mid-afternoon. Whatever that looks like, you have to establish a routine for yourself every day. And I say every day because that's the only way your relationship is going to get better. It's going to thrive for you. So number one, remember to establish a routine that works for you. For myself personally, I have a commute that's a little bit longer than I'm used to, about 20, 25 minutes each day going to work. And so for me, my time with God has been in the car, right? So I spend a lot of time where I'm not listening to music. It's just a little quiet place, just me and God. And I'm literally having a conversation, talking to God, seeking out him to see what my day would be like. And like I said, it's definitely changed the dynamics of our relationship. I've also established maybe just a small little routine in the morning time, just to read a quick scripture or read a passage from the Bible, or maybe I'm reading a chapter or two. But just be, like I said, number one, establish a routine for yourself. All right, number two, make sure you turn off all distractions. Like I said, I had to turn off the music. I had to focus on God. I could not be trying to check my Instagram followers. I couldn't be trying to check the Snapchat notification that I just got in, or couldn't be answering the phone. I couldn't even be really spending time with my kids at that point, because I needed to be focused on God. I needed to focus on our relationship and give the right amount of time to it. So that's number two. Number one, establish a good routine. Number two, turn off all distraction. I'm telling you, you'll thank me later for it. So number three is to be real, be vulnerable. Now I say that because, yeah, it's cliche and it's easy to follow, but during this time, I had to be very vulnerable. I had to open up my heart to God and lay it out all on the line. I had to share secrets that I not only wouldn't tell maybe my mom or my best friend, my kids, but I had to share it all with God. The things that I felt inside of my heart that, needed to be fixed. Like, God, I put it at your feet and I'm asking that you fix it, and I turn it over to you. So be real with yourself, but not only with yourself, but with God, and be vulnerable. Break down those walls that you would have up with other people and open your heart up to God. All right. Number one, establish a good routine. Okay. Whatever works for you, establish it and keep it going, okay? Don't get down on yourself if you forget it one day and pick it up the next, but just keep the habit going. Number two is to turn off all distractions, right? Give yourself the quiet time that you need to focus in on God. That's your phone, your kids, your husband, your spouse, whatever it is, put it to the side for just a little bit of time and focus in on God. Number three, be real, be vulnerable. Tear down those walls. Open up your heart completely and lay all your cares onto God. Okay. Last thing is to take action. Number four, and we keep it simple around here, is take action. Start little by little, day by day. And I'm telling you guys, by the end of the year, you'll be so surprised where your relationship with God has grown. I've reflected back over my life and seen the growth that I've done. And I thank God that I've been able to progress I'm not perfect. I will never profess to be that. And that to me is pretty lame anyway. I like who I am and I love who God has created me to be. So make sure you're making progression and take the action. Don't wait till Monday. Don't wait till next month. Don't wait till next week. Start today, you guys. If you're watching this video, I challenge you to start today. Like I said, just those 4 simple steps, and I'm telling you, it will drastically change your relationship with God if you're intentional with quieting the noise in your life. So I'm not gonna keep you long because I'm sure that baby is in the background screaming. Somebody needs to be fed. And like you know, my kids are locked up in the closet anyway, so I gotta go get them out. I'll see you guys next time. Just remember, it starts at home. You're the first example your kids will ever see, so be the best example that they will ever see. Love you guys. See you next time.